Let's go into the history. Our history singamaXhosa. Xhosa basuka apha ithe apha the Xhosa people, a Bantu ethnic group and part of southern Nguni, have a rich history in South Africa's Eastern Cape, shaped by migration, cultural consolidation, resistance to colonialism, and adaptation to modern challenges. Their stories spans centuries, marked by resilience, cultural pride, and significant socio-political changes. Below it's a concise history of the Xhosa people in the Eastern Cape, drawing on archaeological, historical, and cultural evidence. Let's dive into it. Origins and early settlement, pre-7th century. The Xhosa are descendants of the Bantu-speaking people who migrated southward from East Africa as a part of the Nguni migration, beginning around 2000 years ago. Archaeological evidence suggests that by the 7th century, Xhosa-speaking group had settled in Eastern Cape, particularly along the southeastern coast from Tamvuma River to the Great Fish River. They displaced or absorbed indigenous Khoisan population, adopting some of their cultural practices, including the distinctive Xhosa Xhosa language. Yabo Xhosa, amaKhoisan amaXhosa le uqhaqa yabo siyaqhaqhaza ngathi tu. Okay, let's continue. By around 1500 centuries, the Xhosa had established a presence in the Eastern Cape, engaging in cattle farming, horticulture, and trade with the Khoi and San community. Intermarriage and cultural exchange with these groups led to clans like Gqunukhwebe, who had mixed Xhosa and Khoi San ancestry. So you have this is two man masingazibhuti man. Gqunukhwebe yabo. So kwadibana uXhosa namaKhoisan ka kuzophuma ezo stones azi. The Xhosa organized in loosely federate clans with no centralized kingdom, but shared a cultural identity under paramount chiefs. Oral traditions trace their unity to ancestral figures like Chawe, considered a foundational leader, and possibly uXhosa, a legendary king or hero. Siyazi uba uXhosa ayinkosi, yabo. Then ke ngoku oral traditions zona zitrace phaa kooChawe. Kuthethwa ooChawe nooXhosa ngoku madoda. Always, yeah. Okay, consolidation and expansion. By the 7th century, the Xhosa had consolidated their presence in the Eastern Cape, occupying regions from the Kei River to the Zuveld. The AmaXhosa Confederation strengthened under leaders like Nkosi Yamntu and Chawe. Forming a kingdom that incorporated, okay, the AmaXhosa Confederation strengthened under leaders like Nkosi Yamntu and Chawe, forming a kingdom that is incorporated various clans such as Gcaleka, Radebe, Gqika, Dlambe, and Tushane. These clans, while Antumas recognized a paramount chief for ceremonial and legal matters, though rivalry among the chief prevented absolute centralized power. Okay, let me fix my English now. The Xhosa were primarily cattle farmers with homesteads scattered across the landscape, situated on the ridges for defense and grazing. Their westward expansion along the coast brought them into contact with the Khoisan chiefdoms, many of which were absorbed or because tributary to the Amachawe dynasty. This period saw the incorporation of the refugee group fleeing the Mfecane early 19 wars. So we go Mfecane. bahamba kumfencane, such as Mfengu. So Mfengu, I want to understand it. This period also saw the incorporation of the refugee group fleeing Fencane early 19th century Nguni wars, such as Mfengu, who adopted the Xhosa Xhosa culture and language. So Mfengu bebaleka phi kumfencane, bebaleka ntoni iNguni wars during phange 19th century. Then ke bazadoptha ntoni language, the culture yamaXhosa, Mfengu, which means the way class analyze ke ngoku Mfengu are different people yabo, but then adoptiwe zethu. Its history is not me. Let's move. European contact and frontier war. The Xhosa's westward movement into 18th centuries coincides with the eastward expansion of Dutch, later Afrikaner colonialists known as trekboers from Cape Colony, established in 1652. By 1970s, a competition for grazing land and water near the Fish River sparked conflicts, initiating the Cape Frontier War, a series of 9 wars spanning 1979-1879. These wars were less about race and more about resources, as both Xhosa and Boers were stock farmers. First Frontier War, 1979 to 1978, 1779 and 1781, marked the beginning of Xhosa resistance to colonial encroachment, with clashes over land and cattle. Subsidized War, 1789 and 1853. The Xhosa, under leaders like Ndlambe, Ngqika and Maqoma, resist. The Xhosa, under leaders such as Ndlambe, Ngqika and Maqoma, resisted British and Boer forces. The British, who took control of the Cape in 1806, escalated conflicts with the superior military technology. The Fifth Frontier War included the Battle of Amalinde, an internal Xhosa conflict between Ngqika and Ndlambe over land, highlighting chiefdom rivalries. So ngepango 1881 Amalinde bayibalwa internally, yabo, because in conflict between oNgqika noNdlambe, yabo, balela ntoni umhlaba. 6th to the 8th wars, 1834 to 1853. The Xhosa fought fiercely, but British tactics, including scorched earth policies, weakened their resistance. The 8th war, 1852-1853, saw a significant loss, with figures like Maqoma retreating to Amatola Mountains. The war resulted in significant territorial loss. The British annexed Xhosa land, creating Queen Adelaide province. Later the seized Xhosa land, creating Queen Adelaide province, and establishing Ciskei west to the Kei River and Ranskei east of the Kei River. 1856 to 1857, the Great Cattle Killing. A pivotal tragedy was a pivotal tragedy was the Xhosa cattle killing, driven by the prophecies of a young girl, Nongqawuse, who claimed that slaughtering cattle and destroying crops would resurrect ancestors and expel white colonialists. Supported by her uncle Malakaza and some chiefs, including Sahili, the Xhosa killed nearly all their cattle. When the prophecy failed, approximately 40,000 Xhosa, 80% of the population, starved to death, and 30,000 were displaced to work on white farms. This catastrophe weakened the Xhosa unity and resistance, facilitating colonial control. Some historians view it as the early form of passive resistance, rooted in traditional beliefs in prophecy rather than a mere superstition. The colonial rule and apartheid 1879 to 1994. You being the most 1879 I didn't know that way this long. After the Ninth Frontier War 1877 to 1879, the Xhosa were fully subjugated and their lands were incorporated into the Cape Colony by 1894. The British neglected Xhosa communities, deliberately impoverishing rural areas to force labor migration to white-owned farms and mines. Missionaries, starting with Dr. Van der Kamp in 1799, introduced Christianity, education, and okay, I want Masibek, I want us to now see. Let's cook. Missionaries, starting with Dr. Van der Kamp in 1799, introduced Christianity, education, and writing as Xhosa, producing works like the First Xhosa Grammar 1833 and hymns such as Nkosi Sikelel Africa 1897. Many Xhosa adopted Christianity, blending it with ancestral beliefs, though through traditional practices. So Dr. Van Kerk da Kumpu ngo-1799 waintrodusa inkolo yobuKristu nemfundo kunye nantoni nokubhalwa bajoyine his xa besingakwazi ukubhala mhlawumbi ndazi. But ke let's move. Amaxhosa amanintsi ayithatha le nkolo yobuKristu bayiblenda ne-ancestral beliefs yabo, though traditional practices persisted yabo. So amaxhosa ayithatha inkolo yobuKristu but zakahlali iinkolelo zakudala before ifike uvandovato kuthini lingathuke. Under apartheid 1948 to 1994, the Xhosa were confined to the homelands of Transkei and Ciskei, declared semi-autonomous in 1959 and 1961. Respectively, these overcrowded reserves distributed family life as men migrated to urban centers like Johannesburg and Cape Town for work, destabilizing communities. The Xhosa played a prominent role in the anti-apartheid struggle, with leaders like Nelson Mandela, Tembo Xhosa, and Steve Biko, whose black consciousness philosophy act the cattle killing as Africanist route at the forefront. Post-apartheid era 1994 present. In 1994, Transkei and Ciskei were reigned into the Eastern Cape province, and the Xhosa gained full citizenship. Today, approximately 8 million Xhosa live in South Africa, with the majority 5.3 years. Okay, let me start this and read it clearly. In 1994, Transkei and Ciskei were reintegrated into the Eastern Cape province, and the Xhosa gained full citizenship. Today, approximately 8 million Xhosas live in South Africa, with the majority 5.3 million as of 2003 in the Eastern Cape, followed by the Western Cape, Gauteng, and other provinces. They constitute about 18% of South Africa's population, making them the second largest ethnic group after the Zulus. yabo. So the Xhosa constitute about 18% of South Africa's population, making them the second largest ethnic group after the Zulus. Yabo, qala bezulu. Oh, obvious. Oh, wow, ngiyakhuluma. Then kuzabaXhosa baninzi eSouth Africa. Xhosa culture remains vibrant with traditions like beadwork, initiation ceremonies, yabo, and ancestral reverence enduring despite modernization. Initiation rites have faced controversy due to health risk. Over 825 deaths since 1994 linked to unsafe practices, promoting debates and interventions like websites, yabo, which sparked website nansi ethi olwaluko.co.za. You can check it out if you want to, which sparked outrage among traditional leaders. Traditional dress, including the wraparound skirt, yabo, for men, and ek or care, isilungu, stay in isilungu na, face painting for women persist alongside the Western clothing in urban areas. Challenges persist, including poverty, unemployment, and the legacy of apartheid. There's economic disparities. However, education and open migration are improving opportunities with Xhosa professionals contributing to South Africa's economy and politics. Cultural expressions such as storytelling, dance, which is umkikimbo, and music continue to thrive, reinforced by figures like playwright Fatima Dike and institution promoting Xhosa heritage. Cultural and social structure. The Xhosa society is organized into clans, oGcaleka, oRhadebe, oNgqika, and the tribes, oMthembu, oMpondo, oMfeku, each with distinct dialects and histories, but unified by isiXhosa and shared custom. Clans trace descent from a common ancestor, and land is held communally, emphasizing mutual support. The Xhosa believe in a supreme being, uQamatha, honor ancestors through rituals like animal slaughter. I want to emphasize the Xhosa believe in a supreme being, uQamatha, and honor ancestors through rituals like animal slaughter. AmaXhosa akholelwa kuQamatha and honor, not praise. Honor ancestors through animal slaughter. Yabo, bakholelwa kuQamatha. I will research about Qamatha. Sawungena Qamatha, sawungena. I think kufanele singene Qamatha, abantu bamazi uQamatha. Women hold respected roles, though men lead households, and polygamy is practiced traditionally. Beadwork reflects life stages, and stick fighting is a value skill among men. Conclusion: the Xhosa people of the Eastern Cape have navigated centuries of migration, cultural synthesis, and resistance to colonial and apartheid oppression. From their early settlement and expansion to their fierce defense of their way of life during the Frontier War and the devastating Kekel War, and leadership in freedom struggle, the Xhosa have maintained a proud identity. Today, they balance traditional with modernity, preserving their land, their languages, rituals, and communal values, while addressing contemporary hayi sisilungu jongani mafethu endini yabo, leyo ibhaliwe contemporarily, yabo ithi challenge, yabo, so iyandibhidisa but ke things ayipostwa umuntu azifundele bendibuyiva kodwa. The history is a testament to resilience and cultural endurance in the face of profound adversity. Ndifunde likhulu ngamaXhosa, sithe mna nathi siyazazi. Ngoku into yesiXhosa efanele ndiye research ndizondifundisa ngayo nguQamatha. Mandibulele, mandibulele.